Gratitude to our special guest, Mari Carlson, this morning. Thank you so much. I have to say, there's like a sweet feeling in the air this morning. It sort of feels like a cozy, warm blanket. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just me. I'm going to look at y'all again for a second. Hi. I love that they all wave back. See, you wave too, right? So there was a chewy thought that led to today's theme: to refuse to agree to disagree. And the thought that tripped me up was, to agree to disagree perpetuates the problem. Eek. Just let that roll around your thoughts for a moment. To agree to disagree perpetuates the problem. So the holiday season is upon us, with all the holiday gatherings with families, coworkers, friends, neighbors. I have heard from so many of you of the dread that comes with the holiday season. Those awkward conversations, those political clashes, those heated debates, Fox News streaming in the hosts' homes. I'm sorry, Fox News streaming in folks' homes. Sometimes there's not enough eggnog and holiday cookies in the world that will make some of these gatherings worthwhile, yet sometimes we end up in these situations regardless. So a short fable. A lion and a person were traveling together through a forest. Just bear with me. A lion and a person were traveling together in a forest, and they begin to quarrel. For each of them boasted that they and their kind were far superior to the other in both strength and mind. Now they reached a clearing in the forest, and there stood a huge statue. It was a representation of Hercules in the powerful act of defeating and killing the mighty lion. See? The person declares, that's how strong humans are. The mighty lion is like wax in our hands. Ha ha, laughed the lion. A human made that statue. It would have been quite a different scene had a lion made it. The moral of the story being is that it all depends on your values, your point of view, and who tells the story. Politics and political conversations are often a lot like the difference between the lion telling the story and creating the statue and the person doing the same thing, yes? What if the lion created the statue? Would it be a memorial statue in protest, representing the devastation of a species? Would it be a statue of defiance, showing determination and power in the face of insurmountable odds? Would it be a statue of subversive commentary, where the human appears money-hungry and sinister in its execution of the lion? What if the sculptor, either human or lion, was a pacifist? What if the sculptor was weeping alongside the lion in its pain? We each perceive our world through our own lens of values, perceptions, history, temperament, etc., etc. We create stories of ourselves and our worldview, painted with those vivid colors of our own life experience for good and for ill, and everywhere in between. I really and truly wrestled where and how to start this sermon today. On the one hand, we are called as people of faith to bear bold and righteous witness against the evils of a society and any way of being, any leader, organization, or even government that can actively harm and marginalize its people, our people. We are the voice and the presence of that righteous fury who show up for marches and rallies, who write postcard after postcard, who send email and text and post after post, who give of our hard-earned dollars to community organizations that are life-saving, the social safety net that so many rely on. We are the open-throated and the open-hearted in declaring in all of our bold glory that we side with love. We side with love. That was the part that tripped me up. This is a spiritual path to side with love, a courageous love, a sweaty, bleeding, hurting, aching love, and it can sound easy. We throw around the word love with valentines and hearts and balloons and chocolate candy, but that's not the kind of love that I'm talking about. Imagine for a moment what that statue might look like if it depicted a lion and a human together siding with love. Okay, I know. Chaplain Pollyanna, I know. You can say it. So pie in the sky, hopeful and optimistic. Yep, that's my job. That's my way of being. I know it, I get it. And yet, as Unitarian Universalists, we are called to live our values and principles. If one more person tells me to be UU is to believe whatever you want, my head will explode. We are called to wrestle with each one of these principles. Thank you, Ellie West. And decide how they show up in our lives. Ours is not a passive faith. Since I tripped over my words, I'll say it again. Ours is not a passive faith. Our living tradition demands, asks, invites us to be present and intentional with our actions, our beliefs, and even our words. Which is why we return again in love, to love courageously, to love faithfully, which is absolutely not easy. And that's how we know it is indeed vitally important. Thank you, Spirit of Life, the God of your understanding, for the growing pains and all. Or as the playwright Pearl Cleage said, discomfort is always a necessary part of enlightenment. I called up Wayne Crump the other day. Where's Wayne? I saw him this morning. I called up Wayne Crump the other day to talk about something else, and he said, oh, I thought you were going to call and talk about trees. I talk about trees a lot. I said, no, but tell me something about trees. And Wayne said, did you know that there are different types of bark depending on how a tree grows and expands? So a tree, the bark is its growth. It's growing and cracking and expanding. And I loved that image. In a tree growing, the bark has to crack, has to break open, has to make more room for the inside of the tree to grow. Ours is not an easy path. Discomfort is always a necessary part of enlightenment. To live our values and principles is no small feat. It means that love, compassion, kindness, and revolution all guide our path. I mean, siding with love is revolutionary, in the sense that the Black feminist activist Angela Davis talked about. Revolution is a serious thing. The most serious thing about a revolutionary's life, when one commits to the struggle, it must be for a lifetime. So how do we weave that declaration into the holiday dinner table with our MAGA-loving cousins, our election fraud declaring uncles, and the you can't change your gender believing family members? Come on now. Anyone had one of those gatherings recently? Well, I tripped up upon some sage advice from TikTok. Yeah, TikTok. Insert many groans from my children here. Yep, this mama bear is on TikTok from time to time. How many are with me? Recently, I threw some serious shade about the evils of social media as a vapid time and energy suck that, at times, lacks actual quality content that has any redeeming value. I know, such shade. I do mostly believe that, most of the time, but not all. Studies have been done revealing just what the constant streaming has done to our brains, our bodies, ahem, lack of long stretches of inactivity, and our social fabric. But I'll just put a pin in that one right now. And then on social media, there are truly some gems, quite a few actually. I watched a post from someone who was answering the question, why do you still support progressive politics? And the person answered rather simply. He started by saying, obviously, we're going to disagree about policies. That's what we're supposed to do. That's what democracy is all about, and that's okay. We can debate those policies. But there's one policy that we will never agree on, which is cruelty as a policy. It basically boils down to, we don't like how some politicians and political groups treat people. We don't like the way you treat immigrants. We don't like the way you disregard the plight of Black folks. We don't like the way you treat women as second-class citizens. We don't like how you treat our queer loved ones and friends. We don't like how you treat our planet. So short answer, cruelty as a policy. That's why we still support progressive politics. I had to watch that one a few times to get all that he was saying. Cruelty as a policy. There is something insidious in the level of cruelty that has a grip on some circles in our communities and across our world. Cruelty in finding ways to sow more and more divisions out of fear, out of pain, plain and simple. Beneath all of that cruelty is a beating heart of fear. A scarcity mindset of there's not enough for me. What's happening over there will hurt me, will make me feel uncomfortable. It's a fear of change. It's a fear of loss. It's fear and self-hatred. It's a fear of appearing weak or sensitive. It's a fear that turns to cruelty with lightning speed. As the poet Elizabeth Barrett Browning wrote, you must be most miserable to be so cruel. So perhaps we have navigated to one truth in the mindset of this. Cruelty is not our public policy, and I think I can say our in this moment. Cruelty is not our policy. Yes, our blood will boil. Yes, we will be stymied by barbaric arguments that take mental gymnastics to actually understand. Yes, we will be stunned by cruel words, cruel intent, and cruel actions. All of these things are true. And thus, our calling, my spiritual family of choice, our calling is to not meet anyone in that place of cruelty. Not in our words, not in our intent or in our actions. That's the baseline. Not to meet cruelty with cruelty, not to meet anger with anger. We come to spiritual community for so many reasons: to be held by the God of our understanding, to be healed, to be inspired by the Spirit of life, to grow, growing pains, to serve, to just name a few. So let's take a moment to place a salve on some of those tender parts. If you'll bear with me, imagine for a moment the absolute most difficult person in your life. Close your eyes if you need to. Imagine the most difficult person, or perhaps the most difficult conversation that keeps on coming up again and again with this person or in this place. Think of the cruelest thing anyone has ever said to you, or that person has said to you, or that you've heard. Something that has been said in your presence. Imagine where in your body you felt that moment. Did your heart race? Did your breathing quicken? Did your shoulders tense? Did your hands curl into fists? Hold that image, that moment. How did you respond? What did you say? What did you do? Did it resolve well or with more discord? So I invite you to lean into the sensation of that moment for just a few breaths, in all of its viciousness, even in your body. And then, as people of faith on a journey, we are called and asked to let it go, to release that viciousness and cruelty back into the world, that hard moment back into the universe, to be held outside of ourselves. The Buddhist teacher Sharon Salzberg talks about the practice of loving kindness in the face of difficult people, broken people who are fluent in cruelty. So think of that person. May you live with ease. May you find deep joy. May you be free of pain. May you be free from harm. May you be free of suffering. There's no easy answer to knitting back our families. There's no easy answer to knitting back our communities and society across broad political divide. There is the truth of where that line is, to when we know that if we continue this conversation, this interaction, we will be out of covenant with ourselves, with our faith and our values. It will turn us into someone we don't want to be. So perhaps this holiday season we can agree to one thing, one teeny tiny little thing. We don't have to be that person wrestling with the lion. We can leave the cruelty to those who are most miserable and bear witness to the spirit of life with our love and our compassion. So I invite you to repeat this loving kindness meditation with me if you wish. May you live with ease. May you live with ease. May you find deep joy. May you find deep joy. May you be free of pain. May you be free of pain. May you be free from harm. May you be free from harm. May you be free of suffering. May you be free of suffering. Amen. Ashe. And may it be so.